Welcome to the DGTL Growth Podcast, where marketing leaders share real wins and the challenges behind them. I'm Suse Barnes. Today we're talking with Hunter Franklin, co-founder of Brotherdale. Hunter, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here.
How was your weekend?
Oh, weekend was fantastic. Although it was rainy, I had a friend in town that I haven't seen since childhood. Well, not childhood, like middle school, grade school. Ended up coming down. We got to play some golf, which is always good to get out there. And yeah,
Awesome.
part of what we're going to talk today about is kind of like what him and I talked about, like the growth, even though we're young, like the growth since school and how we haven't seen each other. So it's interesting to catch up and see where you've come from.
Well, tell us about Brotherdale and what you do at your company and your vision for growth in the months and years ahead.
Yeah, no, that's great. I would have to say, here at Brotherdale, the main focus we do, what we call our bread and butter, is creative and paid marketing, specifically on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, TikTok, things like that. Create, hundreds, if not thousands of pieces of content every month between photography, videography, and graphic design for dozens and dozens of brands. And we have the pleasure of working with some really cool companies all the way from more mom and pop type stores to brands that are doing millions of dollars per year and managing millions of dollars of ad spend. So it's fun to kind of see the in between from startups to established brands. And we're based out of here in Nashville, Tennessee. We have an amazing team. So
Super. How many people do you have on your team?
yeah, there's 4 partners currently because actually a little over a year ago, we merged with a marketing agency. So before, my business partner and I had a team of just creatives, so videography, photographers and stuff like that. And then there was the other part of the business, which is marketing. So we merged. And now between the 4 partners and the employees involved, there are a total of about 18 people.
Cool. And how long ago did you graduate from school?
I always forget. I'm so bad with years like that, We started in 2021, and I think that's
Okay.
about the time I graduated, sometime around there, 2020, I think I graduated. But we
Like
started the
just after
company,
COVID?
we started the LLC in April of 2021.
Okay. Okay, cool. What innovations have you seen or are looking forward to in the industry?
Yeah, no, this is a fun one. I feel like a lot of people's answers are going to be AI just because that's been the most popular thing. I actually have another answer that doesn't have to do with AI, but first, it actually is artificial intelligence, especially in our space. People are like, what's going to happen? Are they going to replace you? We're using it a lot. We've created a lot of content for brands with AI, and still some of the best performing content in the ad account is still real people doing real things. Not saying that AI hasn't come close to competing. In other ad accounts, it's done better. We're able to then scale content for brands. And I think for us, we're more of a growth partner than we are focused on checking a box on deliverables. So for us, it's more about, are our clients making money? Are they seeing progress in marketing and growing their business? And so they don't really care at the end of the day of how they do it, as long as they enjoy the process. The strategies or struggles or kind of innovations that we've seen come across our plate, I would say, is the type of content people are consuming. So putting AI out of the way, the major buzzword right now, focusing on, a lot of people have been talking about UGC content, short form content. A lot of people are going back to the roots of supporting people who really show the behind the scenes and do actually a little bit more long form and not as polished, not as quick cuts, not as what they call the TikTok brain. I think people are really trying to kind of tuning back towards that a little bit. I think live streams are huge right now. So
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. So refreshing to hear a non-AI answer to
yeah,
that question.
yeah,
I can't tell you.
it's been very important, and we've seen a lot of growth with it. But there's a lot of other areas to look at than just AI.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate too that you said you are not just a company that checks the boxes on what creative you can do. It's what's actually going to work, what's actually going to drive the growth for the
Yeah,
business. So
because at the
that's
end of the day, it's like if our clients are paying us for just checking a box and they're not growing or making money or seeing results, it doesn't really matter. So they're more so paying for the experience, customer service, the team, and results at the end of the day. So
yeah, absolutely. What are your clients most interested in about your offering? Is that it? Are they excited about the creative that you are offering?
Yeah, Suze, that's a great question. Yeah, the creative usually draws them in. We post some of our best work on social media, or LinkedIn or whatever. But I feel like the clients are really, once they meet us, they love the vibes. They really enjoy our culture. We put God first in everything we do. And I think all those combinations just kind of make us an attractive company for majority of people. And at the end of the day, our team, we have a young team, relatively speaking. Most of our creatives are anywhere from around 20 to 28 years old on average, somewhere in there. Some of the owners are in their 30s, late 30s, but majority of the team on the creative side of the business that interacts with a lot of our clients are on the younger side. And I think we've just instilled in our culture at our company hard work, but also respect for the clients and customer service.
Excellent. What has been working really well, and conversely, what is frustrating in the
Mm.
business?
Working really well. Would it be like in our business or maybe for our clients or like in the content or maybe like just what's kind of been working well at our agency?
Yeah, at your agency in
Mm,
particular.
it's been working really well.
Could be related to clients.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question. You always think about, what can you get better at? Because it's kind of the mindset, but then sometimes you need to reflect and think about what's going well.
Hmm.
I think just being transparent with our team there for a while. A lot of companies don't like to share losses as much, and it's not that we weren't, but I think just being open and honest with the team. A lot of the team members have been here for a while. They know they're part of a quote unquote startup and getting out of a certain revenue, and it kind of is bootstrapped. Everyone kind of is a little Swiss Army knife of not always doing exactly what you're hired for, but going out of the box a little bit. And I think just being transparent. When we win together. When we lose together. And I think that transparency is very much appreciated across the team. So,
Sure. And what's been frustrating?
being inflation in the economy, I guess. Because at the end of the day, we're doing our best to market. At the very end of the day, consumers right now, it's very interesting. When we look at ad accounts, sometimes October is not the best month of the year, anyways. I know for me
Hmm.
personally, it's like, hey, Black Friday's coming up. I'm not going to shop as much because I know I'm about to spend a ton during the Black Friday holiday season and getting stuff for Christmas. So it's kind of like October's a little checked out. So it's
Hmm.
just kind of been a little bit of a dip with, just the economy effects and then it being, towards that time before. So that's just been a little challenge, but I think going into November, it's going to pick back up. I think this will be a really big year. So very excited.
Great. Which metrics are you most focused on improving at the agency?
Mm, I would say client churn rate, retention. Takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of lead time to land a client, and keeping them as long as possible is always better than constantly replacing and finding new. I'd rather grow, have less clients come in per month if I'm losing way less or keeping them all than, gaining 10 every month, but losing half of them, just for the time it takes, right? It's not that it's really rampant or bad here at Brotherdale, but it's just something that we're constantly always trying to get better at. So that's one thing. That's one of the metrics. I think another metric that we try to focus on would be honestly, culture, camaraderie and stuff like that. It's hard to put a metric on that, but it's more of like a pulse check with the team. How are things going? There's going to be ups and downs, like I talked about wins and losses, but it's something that we really try to watch because it is important if there's a lot to get done. So
Making sure everybody's happy and so they want to work hard.
yeah, yeah, and sometimes it's not always about like are you happy or not to get it done, right? But it's kind of
Hmm.
like the grit sometimes to help push through. Or if someone's, having a hard time in their personal life, our team's very open about kind of what they have going on. So they're like, hey, I need to take a half day here, I need to do this. People step up to the plate. And so that's one of the huge things that we really take, excitement in seeing.
Hmm. Hmm. Where do you want to be in 6 to 12 months from now with the business?
Mm, fantastic. Actually, funny enough, we just texted in our one of our group chats. Our lease is coming to an end where we're currently at in about 90 days. So we need to really decide what we're going to be doing. So I think in 6 to 12 months, potentially being in a different part of our building we're currently in or a completely new area, that's probably the most exciting for 6 to 12 months. I think at the end of 12 months, seeing the growth and we'll probably be at least 25 employees by the end of next year, with probably breaking technically 100 clients. I think by the end of next year. Right now, we're about around 65 to 70 individual clients here at Brotherdale.
Okay, nice. And if you could wave a magic wand and solve one major challenge, what would it be?
Ooh, solve. That's a good question. It's probably this is gonna sound silly, but I think we have a lot of stuff in the studio we're at, and I think the move of like, hey, if I could have our dream studio with a ton of space, it's different studio productions and a really cool space. If I could just wave a wand and we're moved in and don't have to move all that stuff, break it down and rebuild everything, I think that'd be phenomenal. Other than that, people could wish for, hey, revenue for clients, for this, for that. But I think that's a part of the journey. And I think, if you're able to do that, then it wouldn't be as fun. The challenge and the hard times are just as good as the good times, because that's what makes the good times better. But the
Sure.
move, the move is gonna, as soon as if we decide to move, it's gonna be daunting for a little bit for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure, but it's always a little easier than it seems
Yeah.
once you're in it.
And we have a bigger
Uh,
team. One time we had to move very heavy stuff up and down stairs without an elevator, and we had a very small team, so it was a lot of back and forth. But now with the amount of people we have, it'll probably be a lot easier.
mhm. Yeah, sure. What about a dream client? Do you have any, like, if you could have one client that you could land, who would that be?
Yeah, we asked that question in one of our team meetings, and everyone kind of gave their answer.
Mhm.
Personally, for me, a dream client. Mine was Porsche, the car
Yeah,
company.
sure.
I think it would be really cool to do some really cool videos with a car brand that's very well known. I love their cars, some of the dream cars I would like one day. I think just doing something with them would be really, really cool. We've done a little bit in automotive recently. Actually, I didn't get to go. My business partner got to go to F1 and do some filming there.
Wow.
That's a dream of mine. That would actually be a dream client. So if you say that kind of came true for him, that he got to go, I'll get to go one day. But I think as far as like an actual big brand and client, it would be the Porsche car company.
Mhm. Do you like what they're doing now with their marketing?
Yeah, I do like what they're doing with their marketing. All of it's obviously very, very, very high end. So I think just like the passion of trying to make that perfect video scenario come to life, although you never reach perfection, but it would be more of a passion project than it would probably be, something we typically do day to day with most of our clients.
Sure. And do you have any predictions of what the industry might look like in 2026?
Hmm. My predictions would be, with the rise of TikTok Shop, billions of dollars being spent there between ads and UGC creators and all that, there has been a massive flood of content hitting the databases every single minute, every single day for hours and hours and hours all across the country. One country goes to sleep, another one's up posting content endlessly. So with that amount of content coming out, I really do see the people that rise to the top moving forward, if you're trying to break through, are really going to be the ones that kind of go back to the authenticity of, breaking records or doing crazy things like the Mr. Beast of the world, but not only making it so polished, but like I said, like the behind the scenes, because with AI advancement and video production, I was actually talking to a friend about, I can go on any platform and break a world record with AI and maybe make it believable, but once everything becomes that, it's going to come
Mhm.
back round to, I believe personally, people are going to care even more about the real things because they know that it's real, and you won't be able to tell. You could probably fake a lot of people. I've said I think there's going to be a big world event where it's fake and it lasts for maybe an hour, maybe a couple hours, maybe only 30 minutes, but I think it will manipulate the markets. I think it will do something where people make a lot of money, where it's just AI and it was in a complete joke, it was a fake scenario. I think that's possible. Maybe it's already happened, maybe not, but I think a big scenario. But back to what I was talking about is the shift in more realistic content. I think the more we get to AI and technology advancement, the more people are going to enjoy. I think that's why people love the live streams. They're, the live streamers like um h- like I Show Speed or Kai Cenat or these big streamers that have broken crazy live streaming records are because they're live. They're showing the realness. They're going out in public. They're showing everything, and I think people just eat it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I teach a class at University of San Francisco here, and curious what you think people should know coming out of school and trying to get work.
Yeah. In the in the content or marketing space,
They're in advertising. So,
advertising.
yeah.
Um, Advertising's been around for a long time. We're kind of at one of those. Well, we've been past that pivot point of, hey, it's not. It used to be magazines, newspapers, and it used to be radio and newspapers, and it used to be billboards and TV, and then the further advancements, now it's phones. All the ads we serve, majority high percentage are all converting on mobile, not even desktop. So if they really really want to be on the cutting edge, the advertising space of LLMs is huge. There's a huge opportunity. Someone's going to create, there probably already is, but massive agencies adopting how to use those LLMs to get attention for recommendations. There's a lot of backend stuff people can do on Reddit posts to get attention on the LLMs, and because they pull from it. But recommendations, I'm trying to think. I think while they're in school, they need to really spend time doing some projects, whether it's for free or just gritting their teeth so they have a portfolio and utilizing the network they have at school, asking people. When you're a college student and you're at those schools, professors really do love to help, no matter the age, the gender, the race. People want to help. People want to really see you succeed. But once you're gone, it's not as much of, hey, you're in their ear, you're there every day thinking of you. So you need to utilize your network, and that's part of what you paid for to go into. Just like people pay to be in memberships or expensive gyms, it's not just the nice equipment stuff; it's the people they're around. So when you're at a university like you're at, utilize the network, utilize the connections.
Yeah, for sure. That's great advice. Finally, Hunter, what is your favorite podcast? Do you have any podcasts that you listen to?
I'm trying to think of an absolute favorite. Hmm. I've listened to so many; it's hard to pick a favorite.
Or favorite YouTube, or a favorite what kind of content do you consume more than
Yeah.
the rest?
Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Hold on. There's actually oh yeah, Dan Martell. Dan Martell by chance?
No.
So Dan Martell has a book called Buy Back Your Time. He's from Canada. He's made a lot of content, and I've been listening to a lot of it. A couple of years ago, I was on the Alex Hormozy train.
Yeah.
And I think he still puts out great stuff, but I kind of hop around to different people, different industries. Dan Martell's on a lot into AI and tech and kind of advertising. So I've listened to some of his stuff, and I think that currently some of the value I get is probably from him when it comes to the business side of things.
Hmm. Hmm. Awesome. Well, I'm sure the listeners will appreciate that as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Super, Hunter. So good to have you on the show
Yeah,
and chat a little bit about your business. I do wish you lots of success with your move.
thank you. I have a
And
question for you before we end.
yes,
You
please.
get to interview a lot of people. So out of all the answers you've got, what has been the most shocking answer about what they expect maybe in 2026?
Shocking is a challenging one. Most of the answers are around AI, like you thought. It was surprising for me, and I started this podcast only a few months ago, August. So it's a newer one. I was surprised how much the industry is embracing AI. I thought there were still people that were, against using it. But I think everyone is getting on board and figuring out how to use it. Another one is the human connections are very important, even more now with AI,
Mm.
reaching out and making connections in person. Like you said, the authenticity and the in real life, live streams is, rare. And I think people really appreciate it when you can make those connections and just talk to people about other things, right? Not just business, or you're really getting to know more about them as a person, as opposed to online. You're it's very short snippets of things. So I think that's in general, that's an overview.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's
yeah.
good. I agree. I was actually, before you even said that, I was going to mention one last thing about, I guess, 2026 or a shift. I don't think it's ever changed, but I think now more than ever, if you're able to capitalize on getting people to your location or your business or event in person, nowadays more than ever, if you just engage with them a little bit, it goes way further just because of that disconnected society of walking down sidewalks and everyone's deep in their phone or thoughts about what's going on or on a phone call, so connected to where they're not
Mhm.
that I was currently at the Mr. Olympia competition in Las Vegas. I was there for some clients, and the amount of people there was just mind blowing. The lines for some of the events to see people in person, and I realized that will never go away because
Mhm.
that's just part of human nature. Getting to do something in person and experience it will never go away. And I think because a lot of people have shifted so much to online, that if you're able to do something so grandeur and grand in person and get people involved and you give them attention, I think there's huge opportunity there.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
That's why a lot of our potential clients or people in Nashville that we'd love to work with, we try to always meet up with them or host them at our studio just because that in-person connection is everyone's on meetings. So when you're able to get in person and really get down to it and interact, it goes a lot further. Not only for us, but for them. We want to make sure we're a good fit just as much as they think we're a good fit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's good news that we're getting back to the real in-person meetings, I think.
Yeah.
It's been long enough.
Yeah, they're
Let's
some of
go.
my favorite in person. I wish I could all be in person, but that's also
Yeah,
not
for sure.
possible. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks again.